Telltale back again. I'm Greg,
I'm Emily.
and we're going to talk about one of our favorite authors that we reviewed his Infernal Ratio in the book
Critical Mass.
last fall.
Mm-hmm.
Author is Joel Byers. This is his new book, just released in March, I believe, of this year. It's a self-published. Joel Byers and C. Scott Davis, they have this shared words line of books, them and all their friends they publish, and they do a good job. We kind of ripped on the design of Critical Mass, but this one actually, it's not bad. It's pretty nice. Love the illustration of Joel Byers on the back.
You've got to read his bio.
Yes.
His bio is hilarious.
Should I? It's
yeah,
short.
Please do.
I don't think you'll sue me.
No. It's really funny.
Joel Byers has been described by the industry as the laziest, most brilliant, unpublished talent currently pretending to write. He has vigorously protested this appellation as he claims he was dead all those years and has the paperwork to prove it. Since regaining his corporeal form, he has promised to write more, as writing is the second most fun thing he can do with his clothes off.
I love it. That in and of itself is absolutely
very creative.
Brilliant. Like, if I had a chance to write a bio like that as an author, that would be the type of thing I would write. It'd probably be something like, buy my shit, because it's heckin' good. I promise. It doesn't suck, according to my mother.
Yeah.
It only sucks a little, according to my mother. I don't know. But yeah, that is super, that was my first hook. I didn't even read the back of this book at the beginning. Because I was so busy reading that bio repetitively to everyone that I encountered, because it was so funny. But it gives you a good tone of like what the book is.
Right.
Like, you get his style is humor. It's very comedic. It's just super playful and fun. So yeah.
Yeah. Infernal Ratio was cosmic horror, and it was pretty serious, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, we enjoyed that one.
And that one blew us away so much that we made it one of our top tales, which is, I think, Joel and C. Scott Davis are the only modern living indie writers on our top tales
right
list
now,
so far.
As of right now, yeah.
Everybody else is dead. So,
congratulations. Well, I mean, he is a reanimated corpse, according to his bio.
According to him.
Allegedly.
Yeah. C. Scott Davis, I think, is alive. He at least has an email account.
I know. He's a good guy. We like him. Anyway.
Yes. Anyway, this book is very different from Infernal Ratio, and they warned us of that. I mean, full disclosure, C. Scott Davis contacted me and asked me if we would review this book. And I said, yeah, sure.
Because why not?
I would love to. Loved Critical Mass. I was, really expecting great things from this. So he warned me, not like Infernal Ratio, not like anything in Critical Mass. Very, very different book.
Yes.
Which, of course, makes you wonder, well, is this kind of thing Joel Byers prefers to write, or does he prefer Infernal Ratio, or is he one of those guys that's just all over the map all the time?
Writes whatever he feels like.
Which is cool if that's what he is. But if you want to pigeonhole Joel Byers based on Infernal Ratio and Where There's Smoke, good luck.
Yeah. It's not possible.
No.
It's not possible. But yeah.
So, basic premise without spoilers, it's a mystery.
Yes.
It's a paranormal mystery about a couple of guys that work for a special department of the state of Georgia that investigates, what would you call it, paranormal occurrences?
Yeah, they invest paranormal occurrences, but the title of the department makes it super secret, so people don't know what they actually do. I think it's called like the Department of Historical Significance or something like that.
You got it. The Department of Historical Significance is the smallest, most poorly funded state agency in Georgia.
Yep. They make sure you know it.
It was chartered to protect. They faked a Photoshop sign on the back cover.
Yeah, like one of those
awesome.
historical landmark signs. It's super great. Like, if I could just talk about the design of this book, I felt like the cover was just really well done. Like, I like how minimalist it is.
Reminds me of your black cat.
Yes. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really, really well done for a paperback.
Mm-hmm.
It could have even I think it could have been done a lot better. But for what they did on a budget, on a shoestring budget, I thought it was really nicely done.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I don't know. It's a simple graphic design, but I don't think it needs to be any better. I think it's an excellent design.
I think they're well, I'm always, as a designer, it's hard not to think of other ways I would have done it.
Well, you're always thinking, should the eyes be centered or
should they be brought down more? Should they be illustrated instead of photographic? I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could do that. I did like the detail on the interior in between paragraphs when you were shifting from a different POV.
Oh, yeah.
They had the tiny little cat.
Probably can't see this without going out of focus.
Just a tiny little black kitty there.
Yeah, I thought
I liked
like
that. That was super cute.
Nice
that kind of was similar to the design they did for Critical Mask, too, where they had the little tentacle monster, little octopus thing. In between different POV switch ups. I thought that was a nice detail that they switched up but carried through as like a indie publisher throughout their other book. It was nicely done. I liked it.
Yeah.
And the typeface was cool too. I like what they used.
But
yeah.
So anyway, they run into a variety of demons and ghosts and stuff, and I can't do justice to it.
Yeah, they kind of go through a series of different cases.
They go through a series of jobs, but they're all related to this demon called Mr. Smoke.
Or they, end up encountering him in some way. He's basically, following them.
Yeah.
He's really pissed off because that was their first case together, and they burned his house down.
Yeah.
So he's mad. So the rest of the story is them encountering these other cases that they have to take care of because it's their job. But Mr. Smoke is pursuing them really pissed off with all his little demon cats. And sometimes big demon cats.
Right.
It's super awesome.
So I don't think we should do too much more synopsis than that. I agree. Because then you start giving away too many details and taking away all the fun. And besides which, I don't think I could do justice to the humor of the story. Yes. This is a funny book. This is a comedy.
Yes.
It's light. It's funny. And for those of you who are old science fiction guys like me, think Frederick Brown. I had a Frederick Brown vibe through the whole book.
And if you're a young person like me, I kept going back to the lightheartedness of, if anybody's aware of the show Warehouse 13.
Oh, yeah.
That was a really great show where it kind of had that lighthearted comedic feel throughout the whole thing, but they were it's definitely juxtaposed and balanced well against the odds. I did have a couple qualms with the book, though.
Okay.
My first one was, I wished... So the grammar in it was really, really formal English grammar, which is not, I feel, how normal people talk, especially ones who are getting chased by paranormal.
In Georgia.
And in Georgia. Especially. I didn't hear enough y'alls.
Yeah.
And,
pickups.
Yeah, it felt a little out of place, which I felt affected my ability to find the characters believable. Okay. And there were some circumstances, too, where the rationale of the characters, I didn't have enough evidence that would be their rationale. The characters weren't developed enough, which I know is typical of comedy, but when you're dealing with humor against such serious situations, you do need to have at least a little depth to your characters, and I felt it more with Sean than I did with Randall. Randall, I felt like, was developed well enough that his rationale seemed pretty normal, except why he was an atheist still when he had all these demons telling him, you gotta be right with God in order for that to protect you, kind of things. But I felt like we didn't get enough of Sean. Yeah. Which, I could see this was very easily set up to be part of a series. Hint, hint.
I could see this going on and on, adventure after adventure, if you wanted to.
Seriously, it's well done enough that, yes, if you were going to go into a series and develop these characters more, then I'd be okay with it. But if this is a standalone book, I felt like I needed a little more Sean to figure out why, when he's nearly getting killed all the time, is good insurance good enough for when he's, engaged and about to get married, and he just started this job and gets thrown into all this paranormal stuff he didn't sign up for. Yeah. I wish I'd had a little more rationale as to why.
Okay.
So I did have a hard time, piecing that together, because I was this just seems really impractical. I can't understand this guy's rationale. It just kind of felt like it was all over the place. Yeah. But I felt the dynamic between Randall and Sean was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
I liked their encounters. I liked the different cases. I really liked, I think his name is Timmy at the end. Bigfoot. What was
Oh,
Bigfoot's
yeah,
name?
Timmy, yes.
Yeah, Timmy. I really enjoyed Timmy. He
was
was
a good
my favorite
character.
character, actually.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear much from him except some blundering things.
Yeah, he doesn't speak good English, and
No.
only Randall can understand what he's saying.
Yeah, it's super funny. Like, I loved the dynamic and the humor. I really felt like the characters, all the other characters were really memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that was my biggest disappointment, though, was that I felt like all these secondary characters were really fleshed out well,
Mm-hmm.
and then Sean just... But also, I could understand, too, if he was, like, in a state of shock this entire time, and just, like, had no feelings about it. Like,
Yeah.
he just didn't know he was allowed. So, I mean, I had a really hard time with that.
Yeah.
I only ended up giving it 3 stars on Goodreads, but it was like, I wish I could give half stars, because it was really like
Yeah.
3.5 stars to me. I really didn't want to take too much away from that, because I felt like it was still
Okay.
such a fun story.
Yeah.
So it was a really solid 3 stars. Like, I had fun reading this. It was fun.
Yeah. Well, I went a little further and gave it 4 because frankly, I guess maybe because I come from older science fiction where you don't get depth of character.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, it was like he was channeling Frederick Brown for me, who's one of my favorite writers.
Okay.
I just enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it a lot. I wouldn't call it a great book,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a light, very funny, good read. I think the lack of depth of the characters and the correct English only set the tone for me.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it made it light, it made it funny, it made it not serious.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't taking anything seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And that made it more funny and enjoyable and just a fun book instead of anything with any kind of depth.
Mm-hmm. And I think maybe, too, it was just the seriousness of the situation, like, full disclosure. I think my expectation was there to be a few more serious moments than for them to have, because everything they're encountering is super dangerous and super, like, this, it could all kill you. Everything. Absolutely everything they encounter could kill them.
Mm-hmm.
But they're having, like, these little quippy conversations with each other and, like, all this stuff. So I think, like, my expectation of, like, balancing a little bit more of the seriousness with the humor is probably what I expected. And it just wasn't met, and it just felt unbalanced to me because of it.
But you know, you don't get that in something like Men in Black.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall any seriousness to that.
I mean, there was some crying in which one? Like the first, second, or third? Because the first one, there were some serious moments.
I don't remember them.
Yeah, there were a couple where it was like balanced with the seriousness of the world could end, kind of thing. Where, I mean,
but the seriousness was so ridiculous that it wasn't serious.
Okay, I don't know. There were enough, I think, dramatic parts where it was still balanced well.
Okay.
For me. In the first one, at least. Not like the second or third. They were a little bit more outrageous, I think.
Okay.
In my perspective. But the first one, I think. But yeah. This also gave me Supernatural vibes.
Supernatural vibes?
The TV show.
The TV show.
Yeah,
yes.
the TV show, Supernatural. Where it's got that fun, quippy humor kind of thing. I liked it a lot. It was good.
But, well, the other thing I give them a lot of credit for, and part of why I gave it 4 stars, and a 4-star rating from me, 5-star rating is great classic. 4-star rating is just a solid, enjoyable book that I don't have any issues with. And the reason why I would go that high, I'm derailing my thought. The reason why I would go that high is because this is a humorous book, and humor is the most difficult thing to pull off.
It really is.
Without it falling flat.
I completely agree.
Most of the time, when people try to be funny, people listening to them just look at it and go, sure, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
You think you're funny.
Yeah.
It falls flat. It doesn't come across very funny. So that's the danger, and to try and sustain that humor through what was 180 some pages or whatever.
Yeah.
No, 210 pages. To sustain that sense of humor, to sustain that light atmosphere for that many pages is a greater accomplishment, I think, than to write something really serious like The War of the Worlds.
No,
So-
I would agree with that. I think comedy is extremely hard to write. And I think, like, he did a really nice job with that. I think I had a hard time figuring out who was supposed to be the straight man.
Okay.
And it seemed like Sean was supposed to be,
Kind of, yeah.
but they don't have very good rationale as to why.
Okay.
That's kind of why it felt unbalanced to me.
All right.
Because it seemed like Randall was supposed to be the funny guy, and Sean was supposed to be the straight man. But then Sean had some really funny one-liners in there, too, or, like,
Yeah.
really, like, situational dry humor that I thought was really good. So it was kind of like...
But in real life, you wouldn't have just one person cracking the jokes if they
That's
could
true.
crack
That's
jokes
true.
when being faced with impending doom.
Yeah, that's true.
But never mind. Derailed.
Yeah.
It's that kind of night.
Yeah, that's all right. Your brain just kind of... But yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I really liked it. I apparently thought more highly of it than you did, but well, it's got my my brain's in park tonight.
It happens.
You have my recommendation
Yes.
to read this book. I would say if you're looking for something light and funny to get away from War and Peace or some serious Brandon Sanderson fantasy mega series for a little bit, get Where There's Smoke. And go to Amazon, look up Joel Byers. It's an excellent book. You'll enjoy it, I think.
Yeah, I definitely think that for its type of book, it's well done. I don't think it's terrible. Like,
No.
a lot of the stuff I could overlook, and I did end up finishing it just because it was so fun and quirky that
Yeah.
I appreciated that much about it. So it wasn't 100% my favorite book, but I would still recommend it to people. Like, I have some
Yeah.
younger readers who would really enjoy this because all the humor is, like, super clean, super funny, very situational, kind of, like, preteen appropriate even. So I feel like it's good. It has more versatility for a nice age range.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And for the next one, bring back Timmy and expand his story.
Yes, please make this into a series. I think this would be a super fun series. Like,
I think
I
so.
will continue to encourage you, Joel Byers, in this endeavor because this could become a lot of fun, like serial novels. I think that would be great. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
That's all I have to say. Go get it. Go on Amazon and buy Where There's Smoke by Joel Byers.
We really enjoyed it a lot. It was good.
It's a good book.
Yep, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.